All right, so Christians, we're supposed to be Christ-like. Let's look at Christ. When he was a young boy, he said, you must know that I got to be about my Father's business. He says, I don't come in my own name. I come in the Father's name. He says, I don't do anything unless I see my Father do it. You see, the Lord was missional. He moved with certitude. He moved with authority. He knew who he was and what he was here to do. You see, Jesus, he got up early in the morning and he got with the Father. So the Father and him could be one, can get on the same page, can get in alignment, and then had therefore what was needed, what was required to move in his day with such exactitude. I want to ask you, how do you start your day? Are you getting up early in the morning and getting with the Father so you can move throughout your day knowing you've been prepared by the Father, you've been instructed by the Father, you are moving in union with the Father. Yeah, the Father is leading you, guiding you, and directing you. Why? Because you've already set the tone for your day. You've already established in your day that God is who comes first. Or are you just getting up and going to work? You see, you got to show up in this life knowing that you're not living for yourself, but you're living for the Father. So when I ask you about your life, who are you living for? Yeah, are you missional? Is it grounded? Is it rooted in the Father? Let's talk about your relationships and your interactions with others. Does God have anything to do with it? Is God leading and guiding in that relationship? Well, what does that mean? That means you understand that you are an ambassador of Christ. Yeah, so when you show up in that relationship, you should show up in love. I'm not trying to say that you have to be perfect in it because, yeah, the devil prowls. He roams around like a roaring lion seeking who he can devour. So I understand that it won't be perfect, but your desire is to show up in love. Your desire is to show up and is to serve. When you're on that job, how are you showing up? Are you working for them as you're working unto the Lord? And your interactions with others, are you being loving? Are you being truthful? When it comes to that boss, have you submitted to them? Or is it all about you and what you want and what you want to do, and you think it's your show and the boss got to submit to you? Yeah, what dictates what you do in your life? Is it led of, is it instructed by God? You see, I want you to think about just your day from the time you get up, from the time you go to bed. How much is God a part of that? Is God leading, guiding, directing? Are you working to show up in the image of Christ? Are you surrendering and allowing God to come up in and through you and reveal himself to others? Yeah, so again, we get back to this point of being a Christian and what that means to be a Christian. That should show up in your daily life. See, some people think about this Christian thing and they think about days of the week. They think I go to church on Sunday, I go to Bible study on Wednesdays, I try to be a nice person and tell people to try Jesus and I'm good. How does that show up daily in your life? See, you're not just a Christian on Sunday and Wednesday. You don't have your Christian life and then your regular life. Some people show up to church holier than now. They show up to Bible study holier than now. But they a heathen all the rest of the week. It don't work like that. You don't jump in and out of Christianity. You don't jump in and out of God. So on the daily, how does your Christianity show up? How do you show up about your Father's business? How do you show up missional and on purpose? How do you show up in the name of the Father? How do you do what you see your Father doing? How do you do what you see that Christ did in Scripture? Because God want to use you. God want to do something with you. See, it's not just for you to have this interaction with the Lord. That's the first part of it. For you to have a relationship with the Lord, for you to establish intimacy with the Lord. But now he wants you to go out there and do something with it. Right? Like you were created for a purpose. And your purpose is going to serve others. So how do you do that on a daily basis? See, you can't live for yourself as a Christian. You are to offer your body as a living sacrifice. You are supposed to deny yourself. You are supposed to take up your cross and follow God. You are supposed to lose your life to him. But that starts with getting up early in the morning and seeking the will of the Father. Right? What do you want me to even do this morning as I sit with you? What do you want me to accomplish on this day? Who do you want me to talk to? What do I need to work on in my own character to align myself with Christ? What is it that you have for me to do today? You see, that's what we seek the Father for. You wonder why you're not having the spiritual experiences that you want to have with God, but are you being intentional about seeking him every day, early, and then all day? Are you seeking to be in his will? Some of y'all, I get it. You like, I don't hear him, so I don't want to. I want to, but I don't hear him. Okay, well, that doesn't mean you give up. That means you keep seeking. You keep seeking and knowing that in that seeking, God is doing something even in the seeking. You don't get to control how God shows up, but you do get to control the fact that you show up. Trust that in the showing up, something is happening. And you seeking the will of God, and you seeking to show up in life as an ambassador to Christ. That you are seeking being in the will of God is enough. God is watching. God is overseeing. That's all happening under God's purview. And in time, he will enter that in a way that's undeniable that it's him. So who are you living for? What are you living for? Make sure it is like Christ and that it is for the Father. Talk soon.